let's not spend it all on one thing. Hey everybody, I'm Kelly Wilkness and I'm here with Anita Joyce, and this is Decorating Tips and Tricks, episode 332, How Not to Blow Your Decor Budget. And you can find the show notes for today's episode at decoratingtipsandtricks.com/332.
This is certainly something I've struggled with.
I think everybody does, right?
Yeah. Well, there's that, beautiful thing that you want, and it's like 3 times as much as the other thing that you don't really like at all.
Okay, so budget. Everybody's got one. We recently, not too long ago, talked about specific things that you can buy and do and dealing with a decor budget. And people really responded to that episode. So we thought we'd approach it from this angle now, today. So Anita, I've been jabbering on. You want to jump in?
Yeah, I think it's kind of, so today I think what we're talking about are more of kind of philosophies and kind of more higher level thinking about how you keep from getting in this situation where you've gone over budget. Before it was like a lot of budget tricks that you can do in your house, but this is kind of more of stepping back and kind of putting a plan together where you're going to take care of the budget. So I found that some of my approach with staying on budget is really a counterintuitive approach, because when most people think of budgets, they think cheap, cheap, cheap. I've got to buy the cheapest thing, But here's what I found happens when you buy the cheap version of what you really want. Then a year later, you're so unhappy with it, then you buy something else. But then maybe you buy another cheap thing to replace the first cheap thing that you didn't like. And then after all of that, you're just finally fed up. At some point, you buy the thing that you wanted in the first place, but by then, you've spent twice as much. So my suggestion is, if there's something really expensive, if not really, but if there's something expensive that you want and there's no other substitute that's going to do for you, now sometimes there's two that, they're look pretty similar, but one's half the price. And if you're happy with both, go with the cheaper one, go for it. But if there's just something where you have to have the more expensive item, my thought is work it into your budget and leave an empty space in your room for it. Don't buy something filler to go in there. You're going to wait till you can afford the real thing. And so part of it is patience. I think the real trick here is patience. I know.
No, but it is so true. You speak the truth, my friend. It is true.
I know. And it's not what you really want to hear. And I only know this because I've messed up so many times buying the cheap stuff. And I've just ended up with a nice thing later on. And I thought, if I had just worked this in and bought this in the first place, or just kind of waited till I could afford it, I would have spent half the amount at the end. And the other thing I was going to say about this is I've seen people, I can think of 2 examples. One is somebody I know that bought a new house. Within 2 years, she was ripping out tiles from her kitchen and repainting, and it was a custom house.
Ooh.
And I'm thinking, that's a waste of money. You really want to be careful about those selections, because you're not only replacing the tile, but the labor to do all that. So, that's really what I'm saying is you want to make sure that these decisions you're making on these big ticket items, that you're getting those right.
Yeah. And how do you do that? Well, as you said, take a step back, take a breather. Do all the things we've talked about in so many other episodes as far as developing your style and honing it and making the Pinterest board and doing all of that. You have to know what you really want and what you really love, because maybe what happened with your friend who's ripping out tile 2 years later is she got talked into something, or it was the tile of the moment, but it really didn't speak to her. And so 2 years later, it's no longer the tile of the moment and she wants it gone because it doesn't resonate with her anyway. So making a plan is really, really important. And Patience. Yes. Another thing that Anita said that is so true. I'm working with a client now and we're going through this really sort of hard purging, hard in the sense that we're going really deep and getting a lot of things organized and moving a lot of things out, sentimental items, all sorts of things like that, but also hard in the fact that it's just taking a lot of time. And she wants to get to the fun stuff. So she keeps asking me, should I buy this? Should I buy this? I found this table, but we don't even know what the overall look is going to be 100% yet. So I keep saying, no. Let's just go through the kitchen cabinets, today. let's get that front hall closet. We did that
painful.
last week. Oh,
that's
it
painful
is.
if you're going on a decluttering before you can even get to any of the fun purchases.
Yeah. But if that's what has to be done, that's what has to be done. Because if you buy a table when you don't have the whole view in mind, right? You just buy something in a vacuum, it may not work. And you may end up spending, maybe you buy a cheap one, but like Anita's saying, then you're going to end up replacing it. So now you've bought a cheap one and you bought a really nice one, or you bought two cheap ones, and that's all a bad way to go about it.
Well, and I know my mother-in-law bought some wallpaper years ago. And I remember thinking, I really don't like this wallpaper, but it's her house. I'm not going to say, oh, it's ugly, because I didn't want to say that. That's her house. And I thought, if that's her taste, then go for it. But then a year later, she was ripping it out again. And I thought, well, she must not have liked, because I never said anything or indicated in any way I didn't like it. But she was ripping it out later. So clearly she didn't even like it that much. So those are expensive mistakes. So part of the budget thing is, saving for the items that you really like, and then making sure when you spend money on something like that, that it's the right thing, that it's something you love. So my suggestion there is some people are just, they know what they love and they're confident making decisions. And when they make something they love it for the long term.
But those people I find are few and far between.
That's what I was going to say. So if you're not one of those people, I highly, highly recommend, when you are thinking about big ticket items, I think it is worth every penny to talk to somebody who's a professional decorator or designer, or just a friend who's like really, really good at this, but to get some feedback on these big decisions.
Yes, because you put all your money into something and then it might not be the right choice. And then you don't have money for the rest of what you need, because it is depressing to have a room that's, 65% done. Like, oh, I bought the sofa and it was so expensive that I can't afford a chair, or I can't afford a rug, or I can't afford draperies or things like that. So really do your research. First, knowing what you really love, of course, and then know what things cost. Sometimes people just assume certain items are going to cost a whole lot of money, but there's such a variety of prices now for even what would be traditionally considered big ticket items. If you're shopping around, you might do really well. And then you would have some monies left over. Also, like on certain items, if you have little kids and so one of the big items you have to purchase is a sofa or something like that. Well, maybe you say to yourself, well, for right now, I don't have to buy a really expensive sofa because it's kind of going to get trashed. And I say that.
And it will.
And it will. I know it will from experience.
With love, right?
Exactly. Your kids are adorable, but that's, if you're going to let them be kids and you're going to let them in the room, that's what's going to happen. And you don't want to be worrying about it until they go to college, don't sit on the sofa, so maybe you don't have to put that much money into that item. So think about all the ways that you're going to use the rooms and the items, and then maybe you can spread the money out throughout the room and still have nice things, but you don't have to have the sofa that's going to last for 40 years.
Well, Kelly, speaking of children, with Pinterest and Instagram, I think the decorating has gotten very competitive and people are just going over the top with these nurseries and rooms for small children. And now I love these beautiful rooms with all the fancy furniture, But the reality is that this is not, if you spend a lot of money on this, it's really kind of throwing it away because the child's going to grow up, whatever you have in there, the kid's not going to like later on. It's going to be sized for a small child, and then you're going to have a 10-year-old, 12-year-old. And so I really recommend that you not spend a ton of money on the furnishings and the decor for a nursery or for a toddler's room, because it's just their taste is going to change. And that's just really a lot of money that you're just going to be throwing out the window, really.
Yeah. I mean, it is so fun to do that, but
it's fun
because they're so cute and everything.
Yeah,
and you want to get
know.
like, the princess beds or whatever is the thing. But yeah, I mean, and a lot of that can be DIY'd. I mean, you can get away with a lot of, sort of, if it's a girl, putting up some tulle or some pretty little banners or something like that. It doesn't have to be all custom stuff. Yeah, that's definitely a room that you can end up spending a whole lot of money in, and then there might not be money left for the rest of it. So, don't guess at prices. Really do your research and check into it. You might find that you'd be surprised. Like certain things you don't have to spend that much money on anymore, like flooring. It really depends. If Nita was saying in the beginning, if you have to have hand scraped Vermont barnwood flooring, well then fine. Then well, maybe you won't have any furniture to put on that floor. Maybe, you don't know.
But the floor will be beautiful.
But the floor will be stunning. But there are so many alternatives to that sort of look now. Even tile that looks like wood, which is pretty fabulous. I mean, I really thought long and hard about putting that in the barn, but it just seemed like the concrete was, going to be absolutely perfectly, stained, so I could save the money there. But it really is good looking, and that would be a lot less expensive.
I think you are 100% right on knowing the pricing, because you're going to, and I think a lot of this has to do with putting a plan together, and you have a wish list of things that you want. And then as some money becomes available in your budget, I would be shopping around. And so I found a particular chest online that I'm thinking about buying. And I'm going to tell you that one chest, it was the same picture that was on a bunch of different websites. There was some places it was double what it was on other sites. So
Wow.
it really does pay to shop around. And it's so easy to, since you don't have to drive to all the stores anymore. You're just going to shop, online.
Oh, isn't that just the most wonderful thing? I just love that you don't have to go anywhere to shop.
And I'll share my tip of how I found this item really, really cheaply. You going to lean in?
I'm leaning in. Yeah.
Okay. So I copied the URL of the photo, and then I went into Google and searched by the image. And then you can actually upload an image or put in the URL of the image, and it'll show you every place where that image shows up. So I could see every place that was selling that chest.
Whoa.
And compare prices, because sometimes they call it different things.
Sure.
But it's the same item. They're buying from the same manufacturer, and they're using the manufacturer's picture. So that's how I found the best price.
Done.
Thank you. Yes, I'm excited.
That is a tip that you could keep on using for any item. It doesn't have to be a big ticket item. Oh my gosh, that's a great idea. That really is good. So when you're looking to say, you have to, again, planning, mapping it out. Think about what you need to have in that room. And just because, the room has windows doesn't mean you have to have window treatments. Maybe you don't need window treatments.
Right.
Maybe you can save all that money, because those done right, they take a bit of the budget away. If you can't, we've told you before, you can't skimp really on those. If you're going to do them, you need to do them right. It has to be nice fabric. It has to, be high to the ceiling and low to the ground. So there's going to be a lot of fabric. And it really does make a big difference when you have nice window treatments. So imagine if you thought about your room without window treatments. How is the sun in here? What's, is my neighbor right next door? Do I have trees blocking? Maybe you can avoid that completely. And then the money can be used for another piece of furniture that you really do want, or, the floor that you really want. I think we've
Yeah.
discussed before, now, just because I've been talking about the floor, about rugs and how inexpensive rugs are. I really wouldn't put a lot of money into rugs,
Hmm.
and I don't.
Well, I like wool rugs, so I usually go with wool, but the wool rugs are even cheaper than they used to be. But the other thing that you can do, I mean, but again, I shop around a lot for the
Right.
wool rugs. And the other thing that you can do is you go with an outdoor rug or a sisal. So
Yeah.
but I agree with you. The prices have really calmed down. And, back in the day, everyone had to have an Oriental rug. And there were all these stores that sold Oriental rugs, and they were all $10,000. That's just not the case anymore. You're not having to spend that kind of money for a rug. There'll be some really good prices out there and some very good rugs that are not wool. Actually, there's a lot of polypropylene rugs that are pretty good looking.
And polypropylene is so fun to say.
Well,
I love to say polypropylene.
the other thing I wanted to mention is again, this just kind of depends on what you want to do. But if you're really on a tight budget, then I do recommend, and I know Kelly does too, that for your big ticket items that you go classic and neutral. And then they're going to last for the long haul. You're not going to be having to change them out all the time. That may not be your personality. I used to only buy patterned sofas, but after I went through 3 pretty quickly, I realized that was not working for me. And I was just changing them out because I didn't want the fabric anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I knew better. And I still did it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's really a way you can save money is if you go neutral and classic, you're not going to need to change things out as much.
Don't you just love a great recommendation from a friend? Well, we're delighted to be recommending these companies and their wonderful products to you today. And let them know your friends at DTT sent you. Pesto pork chops over Parmesan polenta. Not that easy to say, but oh so easy to make with Green Chef. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit company for eating well, and we have such a great deal for you. You're going to save $250. Listen on for the details on that. Green Chef makes eating well easy for any lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat more balanced meals. We're getting into the busy holiday season, so it's a perfect time to have Green Chef help you out. Let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season with their chef-crafted, nutritionist-approved recipes featuring fresh ingredients and nothing artificial. And you know what? You don't have to lose track of your healthy eating habits during the holidays. Every Green Chef customer gets a free session with their registered dietitians who will walk you through how to make clean eating work for you. So sign up for your free session and start on the road towards better health today. And that deal I want to tell you about, visit greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. So that's greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. Go ahead, clean out your closet, then head straight to Quince. I love every item Quince offers, from wardrobe to decor, and I can really recommend their Ultra Stretch Super Wide Leg Pant at $49.90. The price is unbeatable, and the look is so flattering. It keeps you in on top and flares out of the bottom. Everything feels right with Quince. The price, the quality, and the sustainability. Quince offers a range of luxury wardrobe and home goods at prices within reach. And like Quince's clothing, their home goods are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices, along with premium fabrics and finishes. Once you've cleaned out your closet and refreshed with Quince, you can also add something to your home decor. So give your wardrobe and your home the refresh it needs with Quince. Go to quince.com/DTT to get free shipping and 365-day returns on your next order. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/DTT for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/DTT. And let me know how you love those pants. Just you have to think out of the box a little bit. Does your bed have to have a big giant wooden headboard. No, it really doesn't.
Mm-mm.
You know,
No.
you can come up with different ideas of how to do that.
Mhm.
Just so rethinking your room. You don't have to just have all the like tick all the boxes. Oh, we have matching bed set, we have sofa, we have
Yeah.
rug, we have all this. Think
Right.
about how your house actually works. Let's take it outside for a second. Outdoor furniture. Outdoor furniture has traditionally come in what? Sets. And
Mhm.
we don't do sets inside anymore. Why are we still doing sets outside? We don't have to do that.
I don't know.
And they're a lot less expensive because you could buy a sofa or outdoor sofa and the cushions and all of that. And that's a pretty expensive item. So maybe you get one nice item and then you fill in the rest with, a thrifted piece or a bistro chair or even some really good looking folding chairs that you can take out and you have some flexibility with. So even outdoors, there are places to save and not blow the whole budget on just, buying this big set of furniture or, which is what traditionally is offered. I had really not thought about that until recently about outdoor furniture.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I hadn't thought of that either. And something that we say a lot is so important to your budget is to stick with these just limited colors throughout your house. And then if you're bored with things, you can move them around from room to room and you're going to be happy again. But if each room is a different color grouping, it's not going to flow like that. You're not going to be able to shift things around. And honestly, that really does keep things fresh, feeling fresh, and makes me happy with my house that I just shift things around all the time. So that's something easy that you can do.
Yeah. And we found, haven't we, over the last couple of years of doing this, that so many people email us telling us that they started doing that they adopted a limited color palette and now they love moving stuff around their house. I think that is one of like one of the like the themes that run through a lot of the emails that we receive. Because it's such a great way to decorate and undecorate and decorate again.
Well, and then I'll buy one chair or one rug. I mean, I just did this. I bought a rug for my bedroom and then moved that rug to another room. And then that old rug went to another. I mean, it's like 3 rooms got a whole new rug.
Yeah.
Because we just shifted them around. So but you can do that if it has the similar colors in each one. And another thing I think to talk about is sometimes there's some really big sales on things. And we just say, man, it's such a good deal. I really should buy this because it's a good deal. But it's not really what you were planning on buying. So be careful about that. Now, sometimes I look at those and go, this is such a fabulous piece. It wasn't what I had in mind, but it's such a great deal. I think I'm going to go ahead and get it. And then I'm happy with it. But sometimes I just am not that crazy about it. And I bought it just because it was on sale. And I'm pretty much always sorry then. So really think about when something's on sale.
Yeah.
It's great to buy things on sale. There's nothing wrong with that. But just think about, are you just buying it because it's on sale, or do you really love it also?
Exactly. Don't let the price really drive your final decision. You have to love it first. Because it's not a deal if you don't love it and if you're not going to love it next week or next year. It doesn't matter. If the sofa was $100, now you have a $100 albatross
that you have to now get rid of.
You have to get rid of. And then, whatever one you're going to buy really cost you $100 more because you spent it on this one already.
You know what? It reminds me of when, I probably shouldn't even say this.
Please do. If you're, don't we all want to hear it now?
Oh my gosh. Well, I had this one job, I'm not going to even say where it was. There was
it wasn't at Hooters, right?
It wasn't at Hooters.
That time.
No. It was a corporate job. But there was this one guy that this other department wanted to get rid of.
Yeah.
And my boss said, hey, he's free. Just find something for him to do. And then I went back and said, he's not really working out. And he kept going, but he's free. But I'm like, yeah, but he's like taking up all of my time. And he's, it's not really working out. It's not a good fit here. I mean, I'm sure he was a wonderful guy, but just was not the right place for him.
He was
free.
For free.
It was free though. He kept saying, but he was free. He's free.
But he's
I'm
free.
like, well, Then you take him.
That's so funny. Even a guy she didn't want to take for free. Wow.
Well,
no, exactly. I mean, who wants a guy that's completely free anyway? You got to worry about that guy. That is so funny. So what did we say? What are we saying? Make a plan. Really research and know what things do cost. Really know what you love. These are not in any particular order. And think about things that you might not need that, it would be sort of a knee-jerk reaction to decorating your home. Oh, I have to have that. Well, maybe you don't have to have that.
Oh, the impulse. Oh, yeah.
Well, no, but I mean, like, I have a bed, so I have to have a headboard. But do you have to have a headboard? Maybe you can do some art there, or you can do some wainscoting, or you could just do something else where then all that money that you save from these other little places where you rethink it and you're more creative about it, then maybe you can pour that extra cash into the sofa that you absolutely love, into the marble countertops that you have to have.
Right. And I think what you're saying is right. I mean, when I have a big project going on, I have a long list of things that I'm looking for. And then it's what you said. You've got to know the going price of each of the items so that when something comes up, I have a particular order because I do like to do one room at a time. But if something shows up down on my list that's just an incredible deal and it's exactly what I was looking for, I'll go ahead and get it out of order. But for that to work, you've got to know the items that you need and you've got to know what's a really good price. So that's going to kind of keep you on track too, and know how much you can spend every, 6 months or 2 months or whatever.
Right. And I mean, this Google image search thing is just a brilliant idea to do that, because it's kind of like you probably wouldn't put a roof on your house by getting one estimate. You'd probably at least get 3, right?
Right.
So it's kind of the same idea, and you could do it with any price point, but particularly the higher price point things in your house, the things that are going to last longer. Just don't say, oh, I go to the local granite place and just, take it for their word of what it is, because maybe you drive 10 miles and it's completely different. And I was thinking about what you said about your friend having these tiles ripped out and stuff. Sometimes,
oh, it just made me so sad.
No, it would, right? And not only the expense, but your whole life gets cut off.
I'm sure it stressed her out because she lost. I mean, it was a waste of money. She paid for tiles twice.
Of course. But, sometimes people just get talked into stuff too. Like, this will be great. And this goes with the whatever. And here, this is what you should pick. Or, someone you're at one of those kitchen places and they limit the universe for you and you're tired and you're overwhelmed and you just pick something. Don't resist that. Take the breather, just take some time, step back and really look at how you want your home to proceed.
Don't be rushed. If you can avoid being rushed, that's going to keep you. That's when I see people making bad decisions. When they're feeling rushed, they know deep down it's not the right thing, but someone's tapping their foot in front of them saying, well, you need to decide today, especially if it's a builder.
Yeah.
When it gets to that point, you better know better have that item picked out. So definitely, I think so really what we're saying is do some planning, do some research so that you're making really wise decisions.
Yes. And we can refer everybody back. I think in that recent episode that we did, we went through more specific things, didn't we? Like how you can really smaller decor items and stuff like that. So we can reference that episode here as well. And so you can get, that sort of down to the nitty gritty ideas on budget decorating as well.
Yeah, but also, like you were saying, there's really some very good quality pre-made curtains now.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't go cheap like you were saying, Kelly, but at one point you really, to have decent curtains, you had to have them custom made.
Right.
That's just simply not the way it is anymore. There's some beautiful pre-made ones that you can buy.
Right.
And that saves a lot of money.
It does. It really does. Okay, so should we slide into our crushes?
I think so.
You go ahead.
Well, this is a tough one. I'm having to get a new iPad case, And, I don't know. I'm kind of struggling with what to get, but I found a place where you can have a custom case made for your iPhone or your iPad, and it's called My Custom Case. And the cool thing about it is that they'll take your image or your photo and create a case with it. Isn't that awesome?
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, so I'm checking into it. I'm looking at it. I can't decide, but that's one of the things because, of course, I can't just buy the thing that 1,000 people have bought. So
Yeah, but I mean, if it's also protective, sometimes those things are not as protective as, some other,
right.
Cases that would just be black or gray. But yeah, I mean, I think that would be really fun. And wouldn't that be like, what image would you pick? Like of people or?
I don't know. It might be food.
Oh yeah, food would be good.
Some macaroons or something.
Oh, that'd be good.
Know.
That'd be good.
I haven't decided yet. But yeah, I mean, just everybody's got some beautiful photos of their family or of, some picture they took on a trip. I think there'd be, a lot of things people could choose from.
Oh yeah, I think that's fun because you're going to put the link in the show notes so we can see.
I am going to. How about you? What's your crush?
Well, I've been doing so much gardening recently. By the time this comes out, we will already have filmed it. But Monrovia asked if they could come and take a video of the garden because, I worked with them a few years ago and now everything's starting to bloom. So I've been thinking about my garden. I've been getting dirt under my nails. I've been, out there even more than I normally am. And so I've been thinking a lot about gardens and looking at gardening books. So I purchased a book recently, a Caroline Rome book, and she just she does flowers so beautifully. And her garden is such a passion of hers. And I just think she's such a real class act and a lovely, lovely lady. It's At Home in the Garden. And it is, all her books are beautiful and none of them really disappoint at all. So she's really celebrating her gardens as outdoor living rooms in this book. And she talks about how she chooses the plants and the flowers and the layouts and all that. And that's part of what I've been doing in my house too. Trying to not only just have things grow, but really make the outdoor space a space that we're using as a family and for just hanging out, but also for entertaining, which last year we really weren't at that point yet. So this year, I'm hoping that we spend a lot more time out there. So I got this book as inspiration. So I will put that link in the show notes.
Okay, great.
Now we have a listener question, and I think this is going to be a fun one because it's kind of on the heels of our episode where we talked about the china cabinet makeover possibilities, from the ugly duckling to the beautiful swan china cabinets. And Sherry R listened to that episode and she sent us an email and some photos of a cabinet which she believed her husband said, or he believed it to be a pie cabinet. She's calling it a small china cabinet. It's not so tall and it doesn't look like it's that wide. It's positioned in her room between two doorways and it just fits so snugly and nicely in there. Not to diss your husband at all, Sherry, but I don't think it's a pie cabinet because normally a pie cabinet wouldn't have glass doors. It would have like openings on the side for the steam and all of that for the pie to come out is as what I understand pie cabinets to be. But I'm not 100% sure on that, but I don't think it's a pie cabinet, but neither here nor there as to what we may call it. It's a really nice sized, simple lined wooden cabinet with some glass doors on the front. And it looks like drawers and maybe a cabinet on the bottom. What do you think, Anita? What would you? And also, I should say, Sherry sent us photos of the other side of her room, which is kind of like open concept living room, dining room situation, which she's decorated really beautifully and light colored neutrals. And she did a really nice job.
Yes. Well, so I know she was thinking about painting it. I'm not sure I would paint it because the room has a lot of white in it. And I know she was talking about the green, but I don't know. I mean, that's certainly one option, but I thought it was kind of nice to have some stained wood in the room. Now, when you look at the cabinet, it's 2 doors and there's one shelf. So there's basically 4 sections for display. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When you look at the cabinet. And I noticed each section had one item, which I like, but it was all kind of different things. So probably something I would suggest is that she go with all white ironstone in there. And I think that that would be a really pretty display. And that might kind of give it a different look. But, I don't know. If she's really wanting to paint it, I think she could. Oh, and then the other option is just to paint the back of the cabinet. What do you think?
Right. Yes. So I was thinking very much along the same lines as far as what would be inside of it. I would do all white. Or if I decided to paint it, but then maybe she'd have to start a new collection. You could do, because I think green is kind of, her subtle accent color. Mm-hmm. You could do jadeite. You could do some green transfer wear. You could do something
I love the
like
jadeite.
That. Yeah, you could do something like that, right? So now Sherry had said that she wanted to maybe paint it an olive green, but it's hard for me to discern any olive green. Maybe it's in the accent chairs. But I don't know. I think I would keep it, if I was going to paint it, more of a greasy color, because she's kind of got like this very neutrally color going on. Like maybe one that has like a green undertone, like a drabby green undertone somewhere. Mm-hmm. So you could do that. And then I was thinking, what about doing the back something different? You could do the back in a pop green, like a deeper hue of that same. Maybe you do a greasy, drabby, and then the back of it, which is just the inside of the glass, you would see the darker green. Or even, like I was thinking, maybe a green toile or a green wallpaper.
Well, I love your idea of painting it gray and then painting the back with a different color or wallpaper. And then but I think it's distracting that there's 4 things and each one is different that's displayed in there. Like, I'm not looking at the picture right now. So are you looking at it?
I am. Mm-hmm.
I think one was ironstone, one was silver. I don't know what the other 2 were, but so it doesn't, since if there were a bunch more cubby holes, I think that would be fine. But with just the 4, I feel like there needs more unity inside the cabinet.
Inevitably, with the new year come wellness goals. One very effective and easy to reach goal is to add Dose to your wellness regime. Dose is expertly formulated organic wellness shots that support your liver in one delicious drink. Formulated with ingredients clinically shown to support liver health. Potent turmeric, milk thistle, and ginger. There's 0 sugar and 0 calories. Did you know that your liver performs over 500 special functions? Since I learned all that my liver is doing, I started with Dose to support all those vital functions. I take a shot of refreshing Dose 2 times per week to combat everyday toxins from food, meds, alcohol, and unhealthy air. Since starting with Dose about a month ago, I am definitely feeling an overall improvement in my health. So if you want to give Dose a shot and invest in your health like I have, Dose is offering DTT listeners 15% off your first order, plus an additional 15% off if you subscribe for a monthly delivery. That's 30% off your first order. So go to dosedaily.co/DTT and use the code DTT. That's dosedaily.co.co/DTT and use the code DTT. BritBox just keeps getting better. The new Archie is amazing. And it's not the comics. It's about Cary Grant. Archie is the brand new limited series starring Jason Isaacs as Archie Leach, the man who became Cary Grant. From the award-winning screenwriter of Philomena, Archie tells Grant's born in Britain, made in Hollywood story, the dramatic grit to glamour transformation that led him to become one of the most famous people in the world. You are going to absolutely love the acting, but also the styling, the outfits, the scenery. It's the first time his story has been told in collaboration with his daughter Jennifer Grant and ex-wife Diane Cannon. The performances from Jason Isaacs and the rest of the cast are amazing. and it's only available on BritBox. So sign up for BritBox today to stream Archie and other fan favorites from any device. And we have a special limited time offer for our U.S. and Canadian listeners. Get 50% off. Yes, that's 50% off your first month when you sign up for a monthly plan. But only if you go to BritBox.com and use our promotion code DTT at checkout. You're going to love Archie. So head over right now and get 50% off your first month of BritBox. Use the promotion code DTT at BritBox.com.
Right. So when we're saying the 4, everybody, so it's a glass, 2-door glass cabinet, and it's, cut in half inside by one shelf. So when you look at it from the front, it looks like there's 4 squares where you could put something. Like Hollywood squares.
Yes, right. So 4's not a lot.
Right.
So, so the smaller the spaces, the more you need to really kind of think about continuity, I think.
I totally agree with you. Yeah. Mm-hmm. If I was to paint it, Sherry, and if I did, even if I wouldn't do it white because your trim is white and it's just going to, sort of fade into those 2 doors that you have on either side. So I would do it. I think I would do it some sort of greasy green into the green tones. And then if I did the back differently and it was either darker or it had, a toile with that in that green or some sort of maybe botanically leafy kind of wallpaper or something in the back, I would then maybe just put one, like she's got one big white picture. Maybe I would get 3 more the same size, but maybe they're slightly different and just have them in there. So, it's not too much going on. If I had wallpaper behind it. If I painted it green, then maybe you could have more items.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds good.
And then I would change the knobs. You could do knobs and even like a depression glass if you were going to paint it. Mm-hmm. And then pull in the green that you did the back in the depression glass, or you could do any sort of metal knobs. I think I might take off those milk glass knobs.
Or if you did the jadeite, some jadeite pulls.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, I love the other idea. If you didn't do white ironstone in there, I think some jadeite would be really pretty.
So, well, I hope we helped you, Sherry. I let her know this morning that we'd be answering today.
Oh, good. Well,
yes,
Sherry, thanks for sending it in. It's a beautiful room. You did such a lovely job.
Isn't it lovely? She really did a beautiful job. And I think I think this piece will really, I think I would paint it because also then the dining table is much darker. So,
that's true.
And plus, it'll just be such a fun project.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a blank slate to do something fun with. So I hope other people are inspired to do things to their china cabinets or pie cabinets or whatever kind of cabinet you have based on our recent episode, because that is such a fun project.
I know. So thanks for hanging out with us. This was so much fun. And remember, we're here to inspire you to create a beautiful home. Until next time.
I want to remind you that we are available for design consults. We take on your design dilemmas, questions, renovations, any project you want to talk about, any room, any space. We are here for you. And we really do enjoy doing these. And I think we've helped people a lot. So if you want to sign up for a consult, head to the link in the show notes. It's decoratingtipsandtricks.com/consult. We hope to talk to you soon.